easy run today. And what better shoe to review on an easy run than the Hoka Clifton 8. The Clifton 8 has been out for a little while, so the question is it worth it? And even further, is it worth it over the Clifton 7, which is a little more heavily discounted at this point? With the Clifton 8, Hoka finally did what I was hoping they would do. They found something that worked in the Clifton 7, and they didn't mess it up. If it's not broken, don't break it. You could go through all the Cliftons and find completely different looking shoes. If they weren't named Clifton, you would have no idea that they were the Clifton. I mean, they've been as light as like a borderline race shoe and as heavy as blurring the line between the Clifton and the Bondi. Nice to see some consistency here, Hoka. So if they actually did it, right? If they actually gave us what we wanted and didn't change a shoe that we liked, then what is our reason for paying extra for the Clifton 8 when the 7 is kind of the same shoe? Okay, so one thing that I think Hoka is doing much better at is the color of their shoes. So if you're gonna be running in the dark, they have some great, brightly colored, reflective shoes. We have coyotes out here, so don't wanna take a chance and accidentally sneak up on one. So really, how different is the Clifton 8 compared to the Clifton 7? Let's go over my three pillars of running shoes. That's the fit, that's the ride, that's the durability. Starting with the fit. The Clifton 7 has a softer upper. It feels thicker, feels more plush, and it also feels more steady. It's more in place. It doesn't shift around as much as the 7s does. Not that the 7s was bad, but it's a little bit thicker in the 8. The temperatures get a little bit cooler. It's going to be nice. In the summertime, it does feel a little too hot. You might be able to stop a bullet with it. Test that at your own risk. It might be a little bit of a wider toe box. I'm not sure. This one is the 7. This one is the 8. I did have to relace it, as you can see. I had to relace the 8 just like I did with the 7. I don't know if it's because the upper is a little bit more stretchy and forgiving. If the toe box really is slightly wider, maybe it's a combination of these, but it feels pretty good. If you have wider feet, you might like the 8 a little bit better than you like the 7. Last thing for the fit, these heel tabs. Look at that thing. The 7 was the first shoe where they experimented with this heel tab. It worked out. People liked it, so they exaggerated it a lot more in the 8. It looks kind of weird, not gonna lie, but it works. The angle is even more exaggerated in the 8, as you can see, compared to the 7. It gives you a little bit more breathing room to pull your shoe on, take your shoe off. It does make it a lot easier to slip your shoe on and off. I like it. It's not to the point where it feels sloppy. My heel doesn't slide in it, so I think they found the right balance. If you have a problem with shoes digging into your Achilles, this shoe might be worth it just for that heel tab alone. Moving on to the ride. Hoka claims to have lighter, more springy EVA foam on the 8 than they do on the 7. They both weigh about the same, so if they did take off some weight on the bottom, I'm kind of curious as to why it still weighs the same. Maybe they added a little bit more weight to make a thicker upper, but they weigh about the same. EVA foam is EVA foam. It's not super exciting. It's spongy. It's a little too soft. It's not particularly an exciting material to have on the bottom of your shoes, but it is what it is. I don't feel a difference between the two. They also extended the crash pad, which is this part on the heel. Apparently they pulled the crash pad out in the Clifton 7. This is kind of the same as the heel tab. This was another small change they made that was a hit, so they kept it the same in the 8. They just exaggerated a little further. I don't know if you can tell a difference. Again, I don't feel a difference when I'm running. I sort of see that it's slightly protruding a little bit more, but it's nothing that's gonna change the mechanics of the way you run. Hoka still has that meta rocker that a lot of shoes are doing now. It's not as revolutionary as maybe 5 years ago, but they still do a good job with that meta rocker to get you from heel to toe. If you are a heel striker, it kind of softens the blow of your heel and teaches you to get on your toes. So I love that about Hoka. Always loved that about Hoka. I don't think that crash pad changes it. Last one, durability. What's different about the durability? This pair of shoes, I'm about 100 miles in. As you can see, there are some wrinkles showing up, which is kind of concerning because the 7, this is the 7 about 350 miles in, okay? And these wrinkles, I don't know if it's the color, but these look almost worse. And we're only 100 miles in. So I'm thinking it's gonna last me maybe 300 or so miles. I'm guessing it'll be about the same as the 7s. I don't feel anything drastically different between the two. For a heavy duty, heavy, soft shoe, I would expect, I really would like it to get to like that 400 to 500 range. I don't think this one's gonna make it. If it clears 300, I'm calling it a win. One thing that I do like that they did though, they updated the rubber on the bottom. As you can see here on the 7, the rubber is kind of just straight across. They added a little bit here. With Hoka, I've always had a beef with the way they did their rubber because it's just straight across and most people land right here on the side of their foot. I don't know anybody who lands here, and I understand you need rubber here to like toe off so you're not gonna slip and fall or anything like that, but I don't think you need this much rubber here. And so Hoka is finally doing it. They're pulling rubber from here and they're putting it down here. And I think that's gonna help the durability a little bit. I think it's a good attempt to help the durability. And this is without increasing the weight because they removed this rubber and put it here. They're not just adding extra. So it weighs about the same. As you can see, lots of exposed EVA foam. So don't wear these on the trails. Not only because your shoes might get torn up, but because you might fall and die, or even worse, roll an ankle. So now, for the big question, is it worth getting the 8 for extra money compared to the 7? This is assuming you can get the 7 for cheaper because they are on sale. So I think that a lot of the differences that we went over feel like tiny differences, maybe even a little gimmicky. The two key differences I think are that the tongue is thicker, the upper is more snug, it's more plush than the 7. If you like a more plush, snug, fitting upper, that's a big difference between these 8 and the 7. Also, if you need a shoe that's a little bit easier on the Achilles than the 7 was, the 8 is great at that. So besides that though, I would say that there's no real reason to get the 8 over the 7 right now, to spend that extra money. I think this is a bigger issue, and this is the reason why shoes do change, because a lot of times we find a shoe that we love and we get so mad at the company, like, why did you change that shoe? I loved it, you ruined it, you ruined my shoe. So Hoka finally, especially with the Clifton, because they've changed it a lot, they finally stayed the same between the 7 and the 8. And now guess what? We're gonna buy the 7 because it's pretty much the same shoe and it's a better deal. So this is kind of the reason why shoe companies are forced to make changes, because if they do not, we don't really have a reason to buy their new shoe. So that's it for this review. Great shoe. This is also a great shoe at a better price. I would personally recommend the 7, but if you got the 8, there's no problem with the 8. I love that one too. So that's about it for today's review. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful for you, and if it was, please consider liking, subscribing, unsubscribe, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe so I get the numbers. If you don't like my videos, just put it on right before you go to bed. Let it play overnight. Thanks for watching.